Uh, there's no better place to talk about content than the Playboy Club. I just finished watching Playboy on Amazon Prime, and I just wanted to see the setup because it's so brilliant as a series. Can you hear me? Yeah. It'll be great if I can have a lapel mic. I'll be able to run around on the stage. Guys, I have underlined appreciating content creation process to make it brand relevant. Remember, and as the previous panel was saying, there's a lot of learning going on. There's no set rules of the game, and we try to learn and discover as we go around. As I introduced, I head media for South Asia, which is India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. It is literally 75% of the world's poor. It is 25% of the world's population. So it's one of the largest bunch of audiences that are there, and hence we. Can people near the bar hear me? Hello? Am I audible? Green lights on here. The footage car on here.
The mic number 11. It's a mic number 11. If you can please turn that on.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, great. Okay, guys, let me quickly get to the point. So thank you so much for having me over. It's always great to have audiences listening into something that might be half-baked, but all the same, I'll try to make it interesting, right? As I said, I'm just claiming to be, if the idea is that we spend this maybe next 20-25 minutes to really talk about why, how I have grown to appreciate content in my current role over the last 2.5, 3 odd years. The number one thing that I wanted to just, with a raise of hands, how many people in the room have worked on a Unilever brand in the past as agency, as a partner, as having been an employee? A raise of hands, please. More robust raise of hands if you have. Second, great, thank you. Keep it up. Second question is, how many people have really worked with competitors of Unilever in some form or the other? Okay, how many people have worked with agencies that have worked for competitors of Unilever? Okay, great. How many people have used Unilever products? Okay, great. So that's the point I wanted to make. I just wanted to tell you all that Unilever, and thank you so much, and every time I come here, I just tell you thank you for using our products. First, they're great products, right? So they're the best in each category. The second shameless pitch on that is, you should definitely go and buy Unilever products because the revenue comes back exactly back to the media folks like you out here, right? So that revenue that we get on our products goes back as advertising and the whole ecosystem gains from it. So that's a singular reason to spend money on Unilever products, right? Okay guys, so the way we build brands is this. What we really say is that there's nothing called TG, there's nothing called female 25 to 44, there's nothing 15 to 25 female out there, or a guy who's 20 to 24 who's a male who uses Axe, and lo and behold, all the women in the world fall onto him, right? So there's nothing called that TG. Yes, there's that person, there's that, and there are people like you and me, exactly the same aspirations, and hence we put people first in anything that we do, and that's true for when we talk about content. The second thing that we really hold very passionately to ourselves is something called build brand love. How can we get our brands to be loved? What does it take to be Dove, and what does it take to be, let's say, what the brand I'm going to talk about later is Red Label, Brook Bond Red Label tea. What does it take to really create a brand like Lux, where you get Shah Rukh to sit into that bathtub and have all the actresses swoon on him? Or what does it take to take for that girl sitting in a small town, and we call her, Sita of Gorakhpur, to really love that Lux as an aspiration that she would have to be a star someday, right? So that's how you look at brands at Unilever, and you want to build brand love. finally, what we talk about is unlock the magic. How can you really create excitement when you're really putting that brand out there? Why would somebody love your brand as a marketing manager does, right? So the first time on my brand, my brand development partner made this very beautiful looking, she thought a beautiful looking water purifier, and when she showed it me first time, I said it looks horrible. I won't use the words that I used. I was younger, I was less sensitive to people, and you should have seen her face. It was as if somebody had taken a truck over her, and as if I killed a baby or something like that, right? So, but yes, of course, the product bombed because it was so grotesque the way it was. Consumers, people didn't like it, just like I didn't like it. So hence, you need to really unlock magic and make it really an amazing experience. I'm stealing this from somebody called Ken Blanchard. What he says is very interesting. And what he says is that if you want to be creative, right, study art. And if you want to be efficient, study audiences. But if you want to be both, which is effective, right, study how audiences react to art, right? That's what he says. And I thought it's the most beautiful way to put something about content. And when you look in content, you're necessarily are really looking to do is to how do people react to the content that you're putting out. And for us, content is also that 30-second TVC that we create. It's also that AFP that we create. It's also the content that we put on text advertising. Anything that you put down out there, it's meant to be a work of craftsmanship that somebody would see and appreciate and love it for what it is. And what you're studying really is how is that audience reacting to that piece of art. And some of my colleagues will say that one sentence they wrote in that advertising of Lux is the biggest piece of art ever written, and hence that's the only reason why Lux sales happened, while the person was on the brand, right? So all of us believe that we moved those big brands. By the way, content has been always around. This is from one of the pyramids. It's essentially, there was content. This is what you call the cup. The cup holder. The job of this person was to really drink that poison for the pharaoh or the queen or the king, and a very critical job in their scheme of things. But this is content. This is like thousands of years back, somebody put that on that wall and said, listen, I'm putting this content out there and let people come and see and react to this content many, many years later, almost like immortality. But having said that, what really opened content massively was, of course, when the Gutenberg brought the printing press, and of course you had content blooming, and of course later TV and other pieces came into being. How many people watch House of Cards? Okay, good. So I'm not in lowly company because I'm a big fan of Kevin Spacey. I thought I'll bring him into this room to talk about content. I have heard a lot of people talk about content, but I've not seen a better description of what content should be and what's the ideal form of content, right? Let's listen into him.
I know what you're all thinking. What the hell am I doing here? What exactly am I doing at a Content Marketing Institute annual event? There is no way to say no when the founder of the Content Marketing Institute, the master marketeer himself, Joe Itsy Bitsy Belitsy, calls you. Now, Joe can sell you on just about anything. Joe, he called me. He said, hey, Kevin, I got this opportunity you won't want to miss. There's this nice little event I throw every year. You got to be there. Can you do that for me, spaceman? It's a real classy affair, orange candy, orange soda, and it's in Cleveland. I think I'll talk about something that's really important to me, and I hope to you. The story is everything, which means that it's our jobs to tell better stories. The first important element of good storytelling is conflict. Conflict creates tension, and tension keeps people engaged with your story. This kind of conflict between who we are and what we want to be and what others may expect of us is the central thread of the human experience. Look into your own lives, and you'll see that kind of tension everywhere. Our stories become richer and become far more interesting when they go against the settled order of things to really achieve something different and unexpected. Now, the second important element in storytelling is authenticity. And I think a lot of content marketers need to be mindful of falling into the trap of looking for keywords or quick hits to boost their ranking on Google. Stay true to your brand and true to your voice, and audiences will respond to that authenticity with enthusiasm and passion. Which brings us to the third and possibly most important element of any story, the audience. The device and the length are irrelevant to the story, which is an essential concept that content marketing has learned and embraced better than anyone. It's no longer about who you know or how much you can afford, but what you can do. And audiences have spoken. They want stories. They're dying for them. They're rooting for us to give them the right thing. And they will talk about it, binge on it, carry it with them to the bus and to the hairdresser, force it on their friends, tweet, blog, Facebook, make fan pages, silly GIFs, and God knows what else about it, engage in it with a passion and an intimacy that a blockbuster movie could only dream of, and all we have to do is give it to them. And if I may quote our good friend Frank Underwood, just one last time, we've worked too hard to come within an arm's reach of the prize, only to have our hands cut off just before we seize it. For those of us climbing to the top of the food chain, there is but one rule: hunt or be hunted. So, get your minds to work. Express yourselves with confidence, and always remember, it's the risk takers that are rewarded. I thank you for having been such an attentive and warm audience. I wish you all the best with the challenge.
Okay, I thought there are 3-4 key phrases that Kevin talked about. Number one was the story is everything, and that's absolutely critical. The second thing that he talked about was something called authenticity, right? So, and what Unilever calls in our scheme of things is, and how we describe content or anything that we do, is are we being authentic, are we being relevant, and are we being talkable? So if we are being all three, then it's that sweet spot of content that you're really building. I think this. Okay. I think I'll talk about my story of how my discovery on this content and authenticity, talkable, relevant really came about. The number one thing that we did was something called Content Day. There's a video that will follow. I'll show you what we did on Content Day. This is the third year that we'll do Content Day at Unilever. And the way Content Day works is that we give briefs out to a lot of content creators. They come up with ideas that they feel that they can participate in and help us tell our brand stories much better. One such brief that we shared was for something called Brook Brown Red Label Tea. How many people have heard of this brand? Thank you so much, and I hope all of you continue to use it. It's a fantastic brand, and it's a brand with a purpose. What it says is, what we do is to bring people over people together over a cup of tea, right? How many of us have had that moment where we had this stiff at office and you said, "Chhod, let's go for a chai, chal chai peete hain." Have we done that? How many people have had that experience in life ever? Let's forget everything, let's have a cup of tea. After that, that mighty cricket match, is it that chai moment to, okay, let's just have that cup of tea. It's the quintessential Indian thing to do, to have that cup of tea and to forget differences of a cup of tea, right? That's what this brand was all about. I'll show you how the advertising evolved over a period of time for this particular brand.
हैप्पी बर्थडे चिराग, कैसा लगा सरप्राइज? चेहरा कैसे उतर गया है? इस साल बहू ला के रहेंगे।
माँ, ये पल्लवी है, हम लोग साथ रहते हैं। बैठिए ना।
मैं आती हूँ।
इन्हें डायबिटीज है।
आंटी, ये बिना चीनी वाली है और ये 2 चम्मच वाली आपकी।
इलायची डाली है?
हाँ।
अच्छी नहीं लगी?
बुरी नहीं है।
कुछ घरों की चाय में अपनेपन का स्वाद होता है। ब्रुक बॉन्ड रेड लेबल, स्वाद अपनेपन का।
The catchphrase in this is Swad Apne Pan Ka. That's a brand key. And I think when this brief really came in, and we've done this over a period of time, you've seen that Muslim Neighbor film also, which is very similar. I won't show that again. I perhaps have it in the PPT somewhere. You might want to skip it. But I believe the amount of GRPs that I put behind it, all of you would have seen it, right? So I think it's a great piece of communication. It gets you goosebumps. This is a moment of tension where this living in girlfriend of a guy is essentially encountering the mother-in-law, and all that moment of discomfort and all dissipates the moment it's that chai jo ghar ki type ki chai hai. So that moment is what brings that tension down, right? And we've been doing this for years. Now if we continue doing this, we can almost sound like didactic of telling audiences and consumers, listen, this is how we are bringing people together. Now, and it's an iconic brand that goes to regular households, and this was a big shift from how advertising normally used to happen with Brook Bond, where there's a mother-father moment, where then you went to the Muslim neighbor ad, and then you went to the extreme end of it, where you're talking about, listen, a live-in relationship. Frankly, I was worried about the amount of ASCII complaints that we might get out of it. Frankly, India's grown up, we didn't get any, right? But we are prepared for it. And you'd be surprised how many people really get offended by things like these, but luckily nobody did. I think number two thing that we realized, as I said, story is everything. This is a story that we got. But when you have such a safe journey, right, for content, for it to stand out, for really creating some kind of impression, you know, to be ready to look foolish was the big second lesson that I learned, and I'll tell you why. And this is why. Let me tell the backstory. So the brief went out to all the partners that we had, and when we went out with the brief, one such response was from Ashish Patil from Yash Y Films, and he came back and said, Gaurav, this is this plan that I have, and I want to create the first a cappella band in India of transgenders. Right? I said, wow, fantastic. So what have I got to do with it? He said, listen, it's a fantastic idea. You guys have been talking about red label, Brook Bond red label tea, bringing people together on a cup of tea. But the biggest, and you'll sound like this preachy brand over a period of time, where it talks a lot, does nothing about bringing people together on a cup of tea. And in India, how many people have rolled that car glass up very quickly when you see a transgender walking up on that, at that traffic signal? How many people have had that moment and you just feel awkward and don't know how to react, right? With a show of hands. I felt awkward, right? I just don't know how to react. Has that happened with any of you? Yeah, so okay, hey Raju, moments happened with you? Okay, so what do you do? That's an archetypical view of a transgender in India. And the brief was, listen, Gaurav, I want to call this band the Chaka Pehla band. You know, Chaka, we had a hearty laugh. We said, "Okay, good, kal milte hain, let's forget it." I thought it's a joke and we'll get over it. But he was bloody serious, and when we slept over it, and it was the final day of content day, we had to really put this one idea, and we thought, let's look foolish. What the hell? People laugh. There are marketers in the room, pretty seasoned marketers who build brands over the period of time. Their bosses, their juniors, their peers, and you look foolish, right? Showing, listen, we'll create a transgender band, and it'll be a cappella band, and it'll make sound out of music out of sounds, and we'll tell the story on Red Label. There was almost no connect that most people saw, but we loved the idea. We found it exciting. Let's do it is what we did. The idea evolved over a period of time. When the brief came in and it evolved, we went out, and I would like to say Shamir and Ashish, iconic guys. And when we worked with them, and of course Devin was here, Ajay Mehta, Mindshare. So I think the first thing that we do, what I'm doing, I'm representing thousands of people who really worked behind, literally thousands of people who worked behind this particular idea. And what we set out at the course, and the first time we really took this to the business, the reaction was, there was stunned silence in the room. For the next 5 minutes, nobody spoke. The senior most marketing guy within the company came to me and said, I've got a very good idea. You shouldn't leave this room. Never do it. Don't touch it with a barge pole. Right? That's what he told the brand manager and the category head. And that's what got got me going. So we started chasing the category to say, listen, we have to do this. It's a brilliant idea. If nothing else, we'll win an award or something, right? Just do it. I have a feeling about it. And to the credit of those guys, I think the brave call to do an iconic brand like this one, because this could go horribly wrong. And how do you really, and they bought into the idea and they did this. And then the toughness of this all started. How do you really get transgenders who can do a cappella? We couldn't have had a talent discovery round. Let's have a talent show where people will come in. So we had weird cases of guys coming in dressed as women. We had, because talent show karenge. So we literally had to go from a traffic signal to a traffic signal, which Shamir and his team did. And they finally found these 6 brilliant people, right? And we realized a cappella is not it. They can sing. We'll make them sing, right? And the first guy that we approached with that sing was Sonu Nigam, right? That listen, we want to do this. And Sonu Nigam said that, listen guys, this is amazing, this is a great idea. As a matter of fact, I always wanted to do something because I have somebody in my household who's a transgender. And that's when we thought that, listen, the stars seem to align on this, right? And you know Sonu Nigam, creating content with Sonu Nigam, and he said, I'll do it for free. Yeah, so that's the brand purpose coming together for creating content. And by the end of the year, the first meeting that we did was in the Folly Room at Yashraj Films. And I had the whole team there. There was Facebook, there was Twitter, there was Google, there was Yashraj Films, there was, you name it, of content ecosystem, the agencies, digital, traditional, print partners, PR agency. There was like 50 people in that room. And we listened to music, and the singular brief was that we want Obama to tweet about it. That was the brief, right? We said, listen, we have hit the ball at a park and made it talkable if Obama tweets about it. He was the president of US at that time. I don't want maybe Donald Trump to tweet about it, but I would say, listen, there'll be a different brief. Maybe Modi ji brief kare, or tweet kare perhaps. So we got very near to that, and I'll show you what we managed to do in a year. It's here.
The third gender, ignored by most, tolerated by some, misunderstood by all. In India, the Hijras are a community almost in exile, standing out at traffic signals after failing to blend in, knocking on our windows, in the hope for some kindness and perhaps a smile. But when they don't get either, they keep their chin up and find a way to simply be happy.
Crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy, oh, not so cow, ow, but ow, tiny. Because I'm happy,
So please, I'll
Transgender people in India.
I'll leave the rest of the song for you to discover on YouTube. We'll build up some more views on the video, right? But yeah, so it's a fantastic song. The first song, we produced 6 songs, right? And over the period of the next 6 months, there's 6 songs. The second song was what we call the T song. And it started with, as coincidences have it, it started with the phrase from Gurmukhi, from the Granth Sahib, and it was just sheer coincidence. People believe that it was me at the scheme of things, that's why it came in. It was sheer coincidence because Sonu Nigam and the writer of the song really built this out of nowhere. And it was a fantastic, beautiful song. And while this AV will tell you what the journey was, so you had Shah Rukh, you had Salman, you had Hrithik, Hrithik is not a right phrase to use nowadays, but yeah, Hrithik, but many other people who joined into this journey and became bigger and better with every single song. And by the end of the period that it ran, we had uplift on brand measures, we had market share growths, we had substantively large reach because we deployed this on TV, we took this on digital, and of course we managed to get as near Obama as we could, maybe around 50 miles from where he was. We got the UN women's mission to really tweet about this, and out of sheer discovery on this as content, right? And let me show you what we managed to do finally.
Transgender people in India are ostracized from society, with many forced to work as sex slaves in order to survive. In a landmark judgment under Indian law, transgender people technically have equal rights. Despite this, they have restricted access to education, health, and public spaces. Brookborn Red Label is committed to bringing together people in India. So we created India's first transgender pop group, the Six Pack Band, to help end the stigma surrounding the third gender. India has a rich culture of music and dance. If transgender people were to be accepted, we needed to get India to love and accept them on the biggest stage. The band released tracks about the philosophy of being happy despite the adversity they are subjected to, and talking about the importance of gender equality and being yourself. The songs were launched on YouTube and leading television music channels, and radio channels also got involved. The songs were available on live streaming music apps, Wink, Hungama, Ghana, and Savan, and the top mobile operators offered the songs as a caller tune so people could show their support. The band was even invited to perform at the prestigious Radio Mirchi Awards and Indian Music Awards. India's biggest celebrities, including Shah Rukh Khan and Hrithik Roshan, tweeted about the band and shared their videos, triggering support from the world's media.
And don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time.
Our aim of forcing India to confront its prejudice surrounding the third gender was achieved with universal acceptance of the Six-Pack Band.
Okay, so that's the story of Six Pack Band. What it led to is this. It essentially was we won the Glass Grand Prix, which is the biggest award there is on content, especially on unstereotyping gender, and essentially the biggest award in that evening. So I got a call late in the night. It was being live streamed on YouTube, saying that, guys, you should watch this. There's something up. We didn't know what, and there were like 10 awards on a large stage, and it was getting presented, and in like 2 hours, all the awards were gone. The last award left on the stage, which is the biggest, which was Glassland Grand Prix. And I was about to switch on TV. I said, it's a piece of content out of India, Grand Prix, it's not going to happen. And we won the Grand Prix. So it was the most hair-raising moment for me. It's one of those pieces of work that stays with you for life. And of course, we won the Grand Prix. Of course, Sheryl Sandberg tweeted about it, rather Facebooked about it, and I got a personal mail from her. So big highs and small achievements. But the bigger piece is that what happened after this. Of course, brand performance, brilliant, market share growth, equity is the highest ever, and we have continued to grow the brand every single year. What happened after that is that Cannes reached out, the team there reached out to get the Six Pack Band to perform at Cannes this year. Right, so this was last year's 2016 one at Cannes. They wanted the band to come and perform at Cannes at the finale. Never done before. There's no performance at Cannes ever. This is the first ever. By the way, the second factoid. This is the first time that somebody could get a passport and get it ticked off as a transgender or as a third gender on that passport, right? How is that for a factoid? we had to really guarantee the fact that these 6 people return back to India, and we had to get the French ambassador to intervene into that. Did it make a world? When we started the journey, did we think that we'll bring people together over a cup of tea? We thought we would bring it, but how is I get goosebumps when I think about the kind of difference we made to these 6 people and the kind of difference we have made to the equity of the brand over these 6 years. Let me close by showing you something that happened at Cannes finale this year, and this is how it goes.
The winners of last year's Glass
Can
Grand
you
Prix,
the volume, please?
India's first
As high the volume as it can
transgender
be.
band, the Brute Bond, Red Label 6-pack band, accompanied by its curator and co-founder Shamir Tandun. A warm welcome.
The third gender. Ignored by most, tolerated by some, misunderstood by all. In India, the Hijras are a community almost in exile, standing out at traffic signals after failing to blend in, knocking on our windows, in the hope for some kindness and perhaps a smile. But when they don't get either, they keep their chin up and find a way to simply be happy.
एक नूर ते सब जग बजिया कौन भले को मंदे कौन भले को मंदे सब रब दे बंदे 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 सब रब दे बंदे
ये पत्तियां कोई साथ न देखे रंग ना बदले धर्म को लेके इससे कुछ तो सीखे ना कोई राइट ना कोई रॉन्ग बस इंसानियत अपनी कौन यो तो सिर्फ तेजस स्ट्रॉन्ग ये जिंदगी है सीधी सीधे सिंपल इसके फंडे गलत फहमी में क्यों जीनी है अरे सबका एक कप एक ही चम्मच सेम दूध सबकी एक जैसी चीनी
सब रब दे बंदे 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 सब रब दे बंदे
वो बैंड्रा गुलाबा अंधेरी कुल्ला वो लोकल हो टैक्सी मर्सिडीज रिक्शा 10 रुपया सिग्नल पे जो मांगा 10 रुपया सिग्नल पे जो मांगा तो शाहरुख मेरा संटी हो गया ए राजू ए राजू ए राजू 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 ए राजू ए राजू ए राजू राजू राजू
All the boys give me tali All the girls give me tali All the boys give me tali All the girls give me tali Put your hands in the air and go 1, 2, 3 दे ताली DJ का म्यूजिक सारा पॉप है अब उनका ताली हिट हो गया ए राजू ए राजू ए राजू 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 ए राजू ए राजू ए राजू राजू राजू
एक फोटो खींची व्हाट्सएप पे भेजी फेसबुक का डीपी कितने लाइक्स है देखो
मारो ताली Let's throw a party चल let's get naughty और खुशी मनाई फिर ताली मारी हाजी DJ का म्यूजिक सारा पॉप है अब उनका ताली हिट हो गया ए राजू ए राजू ए राजू 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 ए राजू ए राजू ए राजू 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 All the boys give me ताली all the girls give me ताली Put your hands in the air and go 1, 2, 3 दे ताली
ए राजू ताली देना
Thank you so much. That's all I had to say. Okay. I'm
Well-
already up on time by 9 minutes, so.
Well, firstly, thank you so much for getting us to groove with your wonderful insights and those wonderful videos there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to request Mr. Ajay Chako, the co-founder and CEO of RA, to please come on stage and present a memento to Mr. Guarav. And can we have a huge round of applause one more time?
Thank you. Glad you liked it.